What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to some All Steelers Talk live from Latrobe, Pennsylvania, here at St. Vincent College, recapping day one of Pittsburgh Steelers training camp with my main man, Stephen Thompson. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talker. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. Like I said, we are coming live every single day here from Latrobe, Pennsylvania. At some point, the great Mark Boley, he might make his way over here, but we'll wait on that one. As the Steelers hit the field, the excitement definitely grew. Shout out to everybody who came up and said what's up or gave us a shout out from the stands. We appreciate and love every single one of you guys. If I missed you, I'm so sorry. Make sure to do it again tomorrow. I will make sure to say what's up. How are your thoughts on day one here?
Hot, humid. I really, I forgot how bad it gets, standing out in that field in the sun. When I was walking over, real cloudy, right as I got over to the sideline. Heavens open up and the sun is beating down on my neck. So we'll bring some sunscreen next time. We'll dress a little more appropriately, but it was a good day. It was fun to be back out here.
Definitely a good day. The sun definitely strong. I have sunscreen in my truck. I don't do the sunscreen thing. I just roast until I'm done roasting. And there it is. For everybody who has questions, make sure to toss them in the chat. We'll make sure to answer every single one of them. We'll be on for about half hour or so, answering everything we could. Day one was awesome. No pads, so there's still a waiting game before we kind of get the full experience here at Latrobe. Did you have a big takeaway? Did you have a big, that stood out to me here on day one?
Well, it just seems like there's kind of some, and this is kind of natural on day one, but some kind of pent up energy. Everyone's excited to compete. Everyone's excited to actually go against someone and play something resembling live football. Even if it's not in pads, you at least get to line up across from someone. Receivers get to run routes against DBs. DBs get to cover. So that was the part I had the most fun watching, especially in 7-on-7. Cody White continues to be Mr. August, making plays out here in Latrobe. He looked really good, but it's no pads, but it's still fun to watch guys, diving after balls and making hard cuts and making catches. It's a good time.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think you still could see that. You're not going to get the Broderick Jones, Dan Moore Jr. will be the biggest storyline of camp once the pads come on of, who's starting at left tackle. Isaac Seumalo and what we see in him right from the jump is going to be big as well. Najee Harris and whether or not he'll be the next, Derrick Henry, like some people talk about, that's going to be huge. But none of that happens until you put pads on. For right now, it's just what can we see from the quarterbacks? What can we see from the wide receivers? I think a couple of guys stood out. Cody White was a big one. Elijah Riley, my boy Elijah Riley, came up with an INT. I keep talking about good old Elijah Riley. I think he possesses everything that the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for. He didn't get first-team reps. I think that was significant. Who did get first-team reps was Duke Dawson, was the first slot cornerback out there. That shocked me a little bit, followed by Trey Norwood. Did you see that coming? Do you think either one of those – do you think it was, we're just going to test everybody out? You kind of look at it like, maybe they do see something in either one of these guys.
Well, I think they do. I mean, they must. Mike Tomlin told us not to read too much into who's taking first-team reps, who's taking second, on and on and on. They're just trying to get some looks at some guys in some groupings. But, yeah, I came into today kind of expecting Elijah Riley, like you said, to be kind of that first guy out there, at least in the slot corner spot. But there's a long way to go. They're going to experiment with some more guys out there. The groupings, Duke Dawson is going to get in there. Other guys are going to as well, Trey Norwood and eventually Patrick Peterson too, but it seems like they're easing guys in. It was a good start for Duke Dawson. I thought Duke Dawson played pretty well playing with that first team. I didn't expect it, but, good for him coming out there, making some plays. You got a pretty good day, Elijah Riley kind of confirming a lot of your hopes and dreams.
Look, I'm going to be a big Elijah Riley guy until the end. I think that he is exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for in that slot. Do I think it's going to be any of them? I think week one, when they roll a slot corner out there, it'll be Patrick Peterson. That'll be the guy. But they're going to keep somebody else, at least in my mind. And Elijah Riley is physical. He's got the coverage abilities. He's been here long enough. I just think that Elijah just fits exactly what they're looking for compared to everybody else. Chandon Sullivan was a name, and we got a question here from Invisible Lats. Great name. Great name. Didn't hear anything about Chandon Sullivan.
No.
Didn't at all. He was on the sidelines. Did notice that. I will say that, like Minkah Fitzpatrick didn't practice today, and Mike Tomlin just kind of said, well, that was just,
he won't, like, because Mike Tomlin also said, you might not see a lot of Deontay Johnson or Kenny too. Like, those guys are going to get a certain amount of reps.
Yes.
They're not going to be the guys who are, starring at training camp or dominating training camp. They're guys that, as Mike Tomlin put it, you kind of know what you're getting from them. You know what you're going to get when the season comes. So their work is going to be on the periphery. It's going to be in the film room. It's going to be on the sideline. It's going to be in walkthrough, going over plays, and it's not going to be physical reps. A whole lot of it out on the field. So, it's going to be some lesser names that It's going to be guys who are flying under the radar a little bit. Mm-hmm. But Chandon Sullivan was not one of those guys who I thought was in that category, but we still didn't see a lot of him out on the field today.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue was. If there was an issue, there's nobody on the PUP list, so. Right. As of right now, you can't assume that it's an injury, but you could look at it and say, well, maybe they do want to test out Duke Dawson. Maybe they do want to test out Trey Norwood, and it might be a rotational thing. I kind of look at it's so early that you have to look at the slot cornerback competition, really any competition right now, and just say, really good that they have an idea, but that idea is so rough draft.
Right.
Like there's nothing laid in stone. There's nothing permanent about anybody who's going to be on the field right now. It's just Duke Dawson's got to get first team reps because they have to see if he could actually compete. Yeah. Trey Norwood's a name that I think they like. I think they've liked Trey Norwood since he got here. I talked to him today, and it was kind of crazy. We realized that him, Miles Killebrew, and Minka are the only three guys in that secondary that have been here as long as he has. That's
wow.
Yeah, crazy, right? Only entering year 3. So he's got the experience in the defense. You just look at him and, you think that if this is going to be an opportunity, they want to make sure he's involved in that opportunity. Do I think it's going to work out? I don't know, but they're going to take that. The offensive side of the ball, your boy Anthony McFarland, he had himself a day.
He really did. The biggest play of the day, I think, on kind of at any point during the day, I think came in 7-on-7. He beat Cole Holcomb up the sideline, and I forget who threw the ball. It might have been Kenny, but perfectly placed ball right in a tight window with the safety coming over the top too. But McFarland makes a great catch diving along the sideline. I'm a huge Anthony McFarland fan. I just love his speed. I think there is some room, even if he's not, taking a bunch of carries every week, there is some room for him on this roster as that third running back. In my mind, it's not a slam dunk, but he has got to be the easy favorite to get that third string running back spot. And I really I love that he got off to a good start today. And I really hope he keeps it up because I'm a big fan. I think he can bring something really good to this offense. His speed is not something that's common on this offense. I think I brought that up a lot. Like the Steelers are going to go for power this year. They are going to be about run the football, playing aggressively. They're built in the trenches, but you do need some speed somewhere, and I think Anthony McFarland can give you that every once in a while when you need it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's what they tried last year. And I think they really wanted Anthony McFarland to find that mold for himself last offseason, where it's Anthony McFarland spread out wide. He's in the slot. He's catching footballs out of the backfield. He's doing what Anthony McFarland does best, and that's just be a versatile player. He's just athletic. He's an athlete. He plays running back, but he doesn't possess in my opinion, he doesn't have the greatest vision out of the backfield, so it gets a little tough there. He came into the NFL super raw, but he's an athlete, and he's really good at just being an athlete, so let him go. Last year, he unfortunately fell to the Jaylen Warren explosion.
Right.
You can't keep a guy who you don't really necessarily know if he is an RB2 because or over a guy who you clearly see as your RB2. Right. This year, I think it's the same thing. Like Anthony McFarland has the tools. He has the opportunity. The Steelers want him to win that job, in my opinion. And unless Alfonso Graham or Darius Haggins or Jason Huntley explode onto the scene and just do something wild, I think it's very difficult for anybody else to kind of overtake that. I will say I put Alfonso Graham in my 53-man roster prediction coming into camp, but that's just more like you got to take a shot in the dark somewhere when you're doing those things. And Alfonso Graham seems like the easiest choice there. But again, to go out and find an undrafted running back star 2 years in a row, that is a tall task, I feel.
Right. And the odds just aren't in your favor. But I think you make a good point about Anthony McFarland's opportunity here, because I think Najee Harris is one of those guys who we know what we're getting in him. So you're not going to
Yes.
see a whole lot of him at training camp. There are going to be a ton of snaps open. And I think Jalen Warren might even fall into that category too, where you
Yes.
kind of know what you're getting out of him. So they're going to look further down the depth chart. You got 90 guys here. You got they got 4 running backs behind him.
Behind Najee,
Or
Jalen.
behind Jalen. It's
4.
It's 4.
There's 4
Yeah.
of them.
You got a lot of guys that you got to sort through over, not a long period of time. So I think as this week progresses, as these guys kind of flow more in the offense, as they learn what they're doing, as they're getting more comfortable, you're going to see more reps. And then we're going to actually see, okay, who's capable of performing at this level. Once guys get their feet wet, then we'll be able to see them really run, and then we can see who can separate themselves.
Yes, I 100% agree. Speaking of speed and separating yourself, the Steelers tried desperately today to get Calvin Austin involved in the deep game. Desperately.
Yeah.
There was one play for Calvin Austin, and it was run as fast as you can down the field against anybody, and we will throw you the football. Twice it was against Joey Porter Jr., twice ended up ball on the ground.
Yeah.
I think they tried it 3 times, maybe 4. Didn't catch any of them. And I think one of them was on him. One of them, it was a throw from Mitch, who, we got a comment right here that Mitch balled out. I think Mitch had a great day.
I think Mitch did. Yeah.
Like Mitch looked very good, but Calvin, his deep ball to Calvin was pretty on the money, actually.
Yeah.
And to throw 40, 50 yards over a 6'2" corner
to a
5'9" corner.
Yeah.
That is impressive. And he didn't come down with it, bobbled it, popped out. Second one, Joey Porter Jr. got his hand on it. But it does look like they're going to try. They're just looking at Calvin and saying, well, if he's going to be the speed, we're going to do what we do best with speed, and we're just going to throw the football deep.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the closest thing Calvin Austin is the closest thing to real football. Calvin Austin has played in literally 2 years. Like he hasn't played in a real football game for 2 years.
Yes.
So this is going to be a process, I think, for Calvin. I think I maybe had too high of expectations for him coming into this. It was not really his best day. And it was also, I mean, I'm just not sure if I love that, putting him on the outside, I
agree. I don't know why you're doing that. I get it. I want to utilize Calvin Austin as a deep threat.
Yeah.
But don't just make him a deep threat.
Right.
The objective is not, okay, well, he's fast, so just run straight.
Right.
That's what they did that was the biggest thing with George Pickens last year, is George Pickens had one route and it was a go route, and he just ran it time and time again, whereas that doesn't work.
Right.
That's not anybody. And if you're that athletic and that fast, you don't where you could use your speed. I mean, last year we were here, I believe you were here with me. Calvin Austin catches a screen on the sideline, takes it 65 yards, stands go crazy. Didn't see any of that. None of that today.
Yeah, let's put him in space. Let's let him make a play. Let's not put it all on the quarterback and count on the 6'2" receiver to mess up one time. Let's let Calvin Austin do what he do. Let's put him in some more advantageous shine. I think the other thing is we shouldn't be counting on Calvin to make spectacular plays against physically overpowering.
Yes.
I think you can do what you can try to create situations where he's matched up on a linebacker and has a speed advantage and have on the outside and having him run a simple route is not setting him up to fail, but it's, there's only so much you can hope for when you do that.
Yeah. The second I saw him lined up against Corey Trice, I was like, oh, we got the wrong idea of what we're trying to do here.
The size difference
was awesome. It was awesome.
Before they get into their stance and things are a little more even, when they're just standing there, you kind of realize how short Calvin Austin will be standing amongst, us writers. We're normal.
Yeah, normal. I'm looking him right in the eyes.
But then he goes to step out on an NFL football field, and you're like, oh, right.
Yeah.
He's in a different league.
Yeah, you're 5'7". Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about. Honestly, did he even catch the football?
Yeah, quiet day from George. I didn't see much, if anything, from him. He was. I didn't see. I don't know why. I can't lie to you guys. I'm sure he did some nice things, but especially I think in the team drills, I didn't see him catch the football. He ran some nice routes, but the ball just wasn't coming his way. I'm sure that'll change with time. I think this was another period where they were looking a little bit further down the depth chart, and Pickens just wasn't really part of the picture right now. because there were, I feel like there weren't a ton of first team offensive guys that got a lot of guys that you expect to be surefire starters who got tons of reps.
Yeah, 100%. Just so everybody knows, or just so that you know, because I know you're not looking at the laptop right now. Stephen is looking jacked.
Huh? I've never been described as that is not something that has ever been said about Stephen. Thank you.
It's appreciated. It's definitely appreciated.
I've not been working at all. So
No,
no.
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I agree. George Pickens, quiet day. Didn't really. Deontay had a great grab on the sideline, came down. Scary moment. Injury looked like a quick injury. Pop back up, was back in the game. No biggie there.
Yeah.
But George was quiet, you know. But Allen Robinson was too. Pat Freiermuth was too. You didn't really see much of these guys. You know, Kenny Pickett was out there, but it kind of felt like it was just like, okay, kind of like establish some ground, get the body moving, get the fans going.
Yeah.
You know, not really a ton. If we're being honest, I think I noticed Mitch play more than any other quarterback out there.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like that was just because like there's no pads on. There's no hard anything right now. It is just warm your body up, get going, and you know.
So first of all, Allen Robinson, in the limited portion we did see of him, he's a lot faster than I think I imagined he was. You know, he's got some quick twitch, he's got some speed to him. I think that was interesting. Also, I that they kind of put him on the move and they had him rolling out of the pocket and kind of making plays with his legs.
Things cutting out. We're getting comments that you're cutting out bad.
Yeah, let's see. Any better? I don't know. But I liked what they did with Mitch and kind of getting him on his feet and getting him rolling out and making plays with his legs. I think that's where he kind of looked at his best and where he was kind of improvising a little bit and able to read the field a little bit better. So I think that helped him a lot today.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. My thing with Mitch is like, when there are no pads on, don't ever run. If you're a quarterback, just extend the play.
Yeah.
Throw it. But his deep ball looked real good. Like very, very good. And he just looked reactive. He looked a lot calmer. Like a year ago, we were here and you're looking at a guy, a situation where he's competing for the starting job, understands the situation that he's in, where it's a first round quarterback, things are not great. And chances are, if he is the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's a year max. A lot of pressure. This year, he's coming in there. He's the backup quarterback. You know, worst case scenario, he's the starter, but that's cool. You know, like there is no pressure there. And I think that's a lot. That brought a lot more confidence out in him.
The expectations are miles lower for him, and I think there's a lot less tension for him, feeling like he's got to be the guy right away. And that I think was big for him, just being able to. Because I don't know, I have to imagine the last few years have really weighed on him and have kind of made it tough for him to play loose and play, the kind of football that he would play, when he was in college or when he was in high school. Feel like he was actually having fun playing this game. I'm sure the tension and the pressure kind of mounted. So, I think it's good for him that he can play a little bit looser and just be himself and get put in some better situations.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out our boy Mark Caboli. Hi guys, love your work. Maybe one day we'll get Mark on the live stream. Maybe that'll be a thing for everybody who doesn't know who Mark Caboli is. He's only
maybe someday we'll get big time enough for him. But
he does go on Locked On, so I do take that as a slap in the face a little bit. Wow, we're not cool enough. Thank you.
Well, I do too. So
thank you. Toss us your questions. I apologize that we don't sound the greatest. We will fix that for tomorrow moving forward. What other questions you guys have? I think the only other big thing that I had coming out of today was I got to see a little bit more out of the inside linebackers when it comes to coverage. That was the biggest issue last year. It's been the biggest issue for years now is, Robert Spillane was the answer when it was 3rd and long and you were looking for somebody to cover a tight end or a running back or whoever. And the only time I noticed Cole Holcomb today is when he got smoked by Anthony McFarland. And that was worrisome. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, we kind of walked into training camp this year thinking that might be a problem once again. But yeah, it's just concerning and it'll continue to be a concern as long as as long as they don't play well in coverage, because it's not like any NFL team is just not going to target that just because the Steelers are bad at it. It's going to continue to be a problem until they find an answer.
Yes.
I will say I'm interested to see. I didn't see much of Keanu Neal today at practice, so I'll be interested to see him kind of get some reps and see how he can mix in possibly as that hybrid safety and linebacker, and just see what their plans are for him. So there's some potential, there's some solutions, but right now it's not looking very good.
Yeah, I mean, like Keanu played a little safety, DeMonte KZ. Those were like the starting safeties, I guess. But I do want to see Keanu at inside linebacker, or at least like move into the box.
Right.
I think what was interesting is at times I noticed where they had 2 slot corners and 1 inside linebacker. I don't know I'm not a formations guy. I'm not great with the formations, but that's something unique that I do not recall. Would love to see Keanu Neal in that package. Would love to see him playing in the boxes. I guess you would call it a slot with somebody else out there, and just I think that could be very, very, very dangerous. Heard Nick Herbig got some sacks. How did he look? Tough to judge outside linebackers, I think, right now without pads on, just because it's a lot of handwork, a lot of foot placement, but it's not like, when the pads come on and you're lined up against Dan Moore, Broderick Jones, or Chooks Corfor, and you get an opportunity to really like put your hand in their face and they get to put a hand in your face, it's going to be different. It's going to be a different story. I will say that Herbig had a great minicamp, like a phenomenal minicamp. So bringing that here is exciting. I think Herbig's, I mean, he's got the size issue, but I'm excited for what he could bring.
Yeah, I'm excited too. But I will say, considering the size issue, not being in pads is something that's going to play to Nick Herbig's strengths. That's going to play to his favor when he can use the speed a little bit more, get around guys. Who knows when they actually hit, if that's going to keep up. But yeah, I mean, promising start. Today was, you take what you can from today, which is not much, but yeah, there's something there. I think there definitely is something there, and I think kind of the fact that they've got some guys in front of him, take some pressure off of him. I'll just be interested to see next week how things shake out when he's really starting to play.
Yeah, 100%. So something else I want to touch on here. Little Mitchell, so freaking excited for us this year. Omar has done a masterful job. Omar, aren't Nick Herbig and Micah exactly the same size? They might be. I'm not 100% on that one. What I do know is that if they are, you can't look at that as like anything at all, really. Who Micah Parsons is as a player is just, that's a whole other level of that's a TJ Watt type level. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe Nick could get there, but you can't look at the size comparison and say, oh, well, he's gonna be a monster too.
Well, because even Micah had the college production that I don't think Nick had in a similar way. Like,
yes.
I think Micah alleviated some concerns about his size in that sense, in a way that Nick didn't. So that's not to say that we count out Nick automatically, but I think I'm not going to compare him to Micah Parsons.
You can't use that as a baseline. But I do see where you're coming from, where it's like, try to limit the concern. I'm not really concerned about his size, so I'm never going to come in here. There's a lot of people I talk to who are like, yeah, well, the arm size. I mean, Derek's one of them. Derek talks about it all the time. I don't view it the same way. I want to see talent on the field, and so far what I've seen from him, pretty good. Mitchell says, so freaking excited for us this year. Omar has done a masterful job. Omar did talk today. Had some big things to say. I think the biggest thing for me was that last year this team felt like everybody understood. I mean, Deontay said it a couple times that they were in a rebuild. This year, every time you talk to somebody, it's like, yeah, there's a real good vibe going on right now. This is a team I feel very confident in. And I've said it a couple of times. We've talked about it a number of times. And there's just a different feel to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that was my biggest takeaway from Omar today.
Yeah. Last year, some positions felt kind of patchwork in certain ways, and it felt like you were bridging kind of the Ben era to the next year. And the rookie class from last year was going to lay the foundation for what they're building next.
Yes.
In year 2, you can kind of feel like, well, I mean, also winning, I believe it was 7 of 9 after the bye week. That helps. Like, that rookie class really impacted winning in a really tangible way. And Mike Tomlin talked a little bit about momentum and, does it carry over from year to year? And you don't really know, but you're kind of hopeful that it does, and you're kind of hopeful that you watch what a team does when they're really young during their rookie years in the NFL, and you watch them be fairly successful in the second half of the year, and you can't help but get excited going into the next year. You count on improvement year to year,
Yep.
and you get hopeful. You can't help but get excited, and I think also this year, just plainly on paper, the pieces fit together a little bit more. There's a clear direction of what they want to do and who they want to be, and that just translates to excitement, and especially in a division that feels somewhat wide open, it's a time to be excited. And I think that hype is only going to build, and we'll see what happens during week 1. But I think people have every right to get excited about this team right now.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I love the quote where he said that they went into the offseason, they had a vision. Him, Mike, and Art Rooney sat down, created their vision of what they saw the Pittsburgh Steelers of in 2023, and they went out and they got it. And I think that's something to be excited. Look, there are a lot of question marks about this team. Kenny is hands down the biggest one. But there are both sides of the football, plenty of concerns, plenty of questions, plenty of things we have to see. I just think that right now, just in a very mild sense, a year ago, we were not optimistic about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm not Super Bowl optimistic about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I could tell you that if somebody said, do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to make the playoffs? A year ago, I would have said no.
Yeah.
This year, I would say, well, I think they got it. I think they got a good shot. I think they got a good chance.
Yeah. There's like a clear first and second tier, at least in the AFC, and the Steelers are as good as any of those teams, like, between like Miami, New York, who else? The Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
Like there are a bunch of teams that they are on very even footing with, that they'll be competing directly with for playoff spots.
Shout out Mitchell. Haven't missed a home game in 10 years. The 57th Crew fan club at the Jumbotron. That's sick. That's super cool.
We'll look out for you.
Yeah, for real. Darnell Washington pushing anybody around today. Didn't see much Darnell Washington. I will say that what I noticed about Darnell Washington was that Connor Hayward and Pat Freiermuth were really kind of working in with that first team.
Yeah.
Darnell, I saw a lot with the second team. Didn't see much of Zach Gentry, at least that I noticed.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of showed exactly where the Steelers are going to start this tight end vision. Of we want Pat to be a receiving tight end. We want Connor to be a receiving tight end. We want Darnell to be that big body that's just going to mess people up.
Right. And that's the thing, they're not in pads right now. So I think they might be waiting a little bit for Darnell to actually be allowed to hit people.
Yes. Yeah.
He can only
Tuesday. That's a different story.
Right. He can push around, a sled as much as he wants here, but that doesn't mean anything until, he's actually facing off against someone else who's wearing pads, and there's some even ground for him to push people around on. So check back with us next week, and we might be able to share with you some Darnell Washington really hitting
Darnell
people.
Washington's going to be scary next week. I'm very
excited.
Very excited about it. I saw him and Broderick Jones line up together just to do a quick blocking drill, and immediately I was just like, oh, that's going to look good.
It's crazy how Kenny might be. Kenny might not even be able to see over those two guys. I
could tell you what, if Calvin Austin plays a little backfield like Najee Harris says, he's not going to see anything.
Najee said that. I missed that.
Yeah, during minicamp he said that.
I like that.
You could see a little Calvin in the backfield. Me too. I don't know how I feel about that, but it depends on how you use him. If I was playing Madden, do a little end around, do a little shuffle pass, that's cool.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm handing him the ball up the middle. I don't know.
3 yards in a cloud of dust from Calvin Austin.
Yeah, it could be a little scary, but yeah, no, next week's gonna be a good one. I think with that, we answered all the questions. Feeling good. Day one, day one's day one. Not a lot to talk about, but it's the first time they stepped on a football field in over a month. You feel very good about things. Football is officially back. This is not OTAs. This is not mini camp. This is training camp. In a week and a half, 2 weeks, there are preseason games. In 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we're talking football. We're talking
49ers
full blown week one football. Isor Jr., just to give you a little recap, we did talk about Calvin earlier, but I don't want to say it was a bad day. Didn't really spark any interest. Had a couple of deep balls. All three of them ended up in drops, which was, I wouldn't say drops, at least a drop on one. Incompletes on all of them. But if you want a little bit deeper, I'd just go back a little bit. We dove into that one. Day 2 is going to bring more excitement. The weekend's going to have even more excitement. Tuesday comes around. Things are going to get real fast. We appreciate everybody jumping on. We're going to come live every single day, like we said, from Latrobe, St. Vincent College, bringing you guys everything we see throughout the day. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/allsteelerstalk. Like this video. Find us anywhere you get your podcasts for pods every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and my Steelers to go Monday through Friday. Appreciate all of you guys. Enjoy what's hopefully a beautiful day in the Burgh, because it's a beautiful day here in Latrobe. Peace.